The night was beautiful. The chandeliers shimmered like captured stars, the laughter of guests echoed across the hall, and the air smelled of roses and expensive perfume. It was Mrs. Eleanor Rose's birthday, my mother-in-law. She had turned 75 that evening, and the entire town seemed to have come to celebrate her. Everyone called her the Grand Lady of Rosefield. To me, she was more than that. She was my late husband's mother, the woman who had built the house I now lived in, and the woman who never truly let me forget that it was her house. I had spent the whole day preparing for the party. I decorated the hall, arranged the flowers, cooked half of the dishes myself. My hands were sore, but my heart was happy because I thought maybe tonight would be different. Maybe she'd smile at me and say, "You did well, Rose." Maybe just once she'd look at me like a daughter, not a guest in her son's home. The guests arrived, politicians, businessmen, old family friends. Everyone was dressed like royalty. I wore a simple blue sari, the one my husband had given me on our 5th anniversary. It wasn't new, but it carried a story, one I wasn't ashamed of. When I entered the hall, I saw her. Eleanor stood at the center, wrapped in a golden silk gown, jewels shining like the crown she believed she wore. She looked at me from head to toe, and then she smiled, that polite, sharp smile that cut deeper than words. "Oh, Rose, darling," she said, loud enough for everyone around to hear. "I told you the dress code was formal, didn't I? Not village casual." People chuckled softly. A few looked away. And I just smiled. Her best friend, Mrs. Hammond, leaned in and whispered, "She still doesn't fit in, does she?" Eleanor laughed. "Well, we all try our best, dear. Some things just don't polish well." That was the first time I felt my eyes sting. Not from what she said, but from the calmness I forced myself to hold. I excused myself and went to the kitchen. I stood there quietly near the sink, watching the candles flicker on the cake I had baked. I wanted to cry. I wanted to walk out. But instead I whispered to myself, "Not tonight, Rose. Not tonight." I took a deep breath, fixed my smile, and carried the cake out to the hall. When the lights dimmed and the music stopped, everyone began to sing Happy Birthday. Eleanor stood tall, glowing in her pride. I placed the cake in front of her. She looked at it and said, almost mockingly, "Oh, you baked this? I hope you didn't experiment again. We wouldn't want anyone falling sick at my party, would we?" The guests laughed. The sound felt like 1,000 knives. Still, I smiled and said softly, "Of course not, Mother. It's just the old family recipe. Your favorite one." She froze. Because it was her favorite recipe, the one her late husband used to love. The one she hadn't eaten since he died. The room grew quiet. She looked at the cake again, then at me. And for the first time that night, her face softened. No one noticed, but a tear escaped her eye as she cut the first slice. And instead of handing it to her friends, she turned and gave it to me. "Here, Rose," she said quietly. "You have the first bite." I smiled, not in victory but in peace. Because sometimes silence speaks louder than anger. Sometimes dignity wins louder than words. That night, when everyone left and the lights were out, Eleanor came to me in the kitchen. She didn't apologize. She didn't have to. She just said, "The cake was perfect. He would have liked it." I nodded, hiding my tears. And for the first time in years, she called me by my full name. "Good night, Rosemary."